Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be looking at a brand new way to protect your rare and vintage paperbacks, and that's these Deflector DC cases. They're absolutely amazing and I cannot wait to show you them. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so what is a Deflector case? Well, basically, if we take a look at this rather nice vintage penguin, the last one I needed to finish my set, this is a made-to-measure plastic case, and as you can see, it looks rather snazzy. Now, up until now, collectors have really just been, the only option we've really had has been, basically paperback bags, which is just like an old comic bag in effect. This, I think, takes it to another level, and you can really sort of showcase your rare books. And maybe you wouldn't want to do your entire collection, maybe you would, but certainly your more fragile and more collectible or rarer books, I think they just look absolutely fantastic when they're in these cases. So I've got a few which have been done for me, because prior to this, of course, there literally was nothing around, and I've really been pushing to find someone who could actually make these, and lo and behold, I came across at the Matford Toy Fair Deflector DC. Now, Deflector DC are based in Plymouth, which is where I am in the UK, and literally just a few streets away from me. Could you believe it? So I gave Chris, who's the founder of Deflector DC, a big batch of books, and he's from sort of my doubles, and he's pulled them together and he's made these samples. So I think they look absolutely fantastic. I really do. So I wanted to tell you a little bit first of all about the actual quality of these. So they can be made to measure, but I believe that once we've got enough books actually measured and cases made, you'll be able to sort of go to the Deflector site and order, say, I don't know, 10 ace science fiction ones, or American paperbacks, and what there'll be different widths, and then there'll be different grades of depth. So you could have maybe 15 different levels of depth, but basically they can either be made to order, literally made to measure, so you send the items to Chris, he'll put cases on them bespoke, or what we hope to do is be able to do it sort of by all the vintage penguins, for example. You could have wartime vintage penguins, which are these ones, and you could just have like slight variations of them, slightly taller, maybe it's the depth more than anything else. This one here is sort of about as thin as they get. There's a couple that are perhaps a little bit thinner, but mainly they're actually bigger than that. So we'll have different sorts of sizes to try and fit them all, really, but they are made of archival quality PET. They are designed to fit perfectly without damage or shelf wear and warping. Now I will show you, we're going to open one of these up. Now they are, I would say that they're designed more for a single use. So you get the book, it's like made to measure, and you just leave it at that. However, it is possible to chop and change the book. So what I'll do, because I just gave Chris some like generic samples, I have got some books which are quite similar, which I'd like to sort of swap around. So I'm hopeful. This is a Josephine Tay, a really nice one, one of my favorite vintage Pam books with a PEF cover. I'd like to see if that will go in there. Now that itself is really great, but it was just a spare one. So we'll have a look in that in just a minute. But yeah, these cases, they're UV resistant, and they're made of acid-free material. Obviously they're foldable, and they have the locking tabs to keep the case rigid, secure, and importantly dust-free. And we'll have a look at that in a minute. They're crystal clear, lightweight, which you can see, and shatterproof and impact resistant, and they come with a protective film, so when you get them you have to pull the film off. That's how they're actually made. Now they're pre-assembled, they're delivered flat packed, so you just sort of pop them in, and they're recyclable and of course environmentally sustainable. Now there's some great videos on the Deflector website, and I'll have that sort of playing in the background, and it shows Chris actually assembling one of his cases from scratch for a vintage Star Wars action figure. Now the actual brand Deflector DC started back in 2015, and that was on the back of Chris producing cases for the Star Wars Black series, which is like an action figure range, 6-inch action figure range, and it just sort of took off from there. And he started to choose The Deflector name was taken from Star Wars, and he sort of trademarked that. And then he sort of started offering different sorts of cases through his website, which we'll link to in the description down below, so you can go straight to it. And I think at the moment there's well over 1,000 different bespoke cases for different ranges of action figures, which is absolutely amazing. Here's another one to look at while we're having a gander here. And he has all sorts of brands, from little Matchbox cars where you can get a case which is about £1.25 up to really, really big boxes. But if you have these in like plastic acrylic, these would be a fortune, but these are much, much more reasonably priced. And I did notice that on his site, if you buy in bulk, they are slightly cheaper, and free postage if you spend over £50. So if you're really going to go for it, that may be the way to go. But now he's got, over 7,000 different branded cases, which is absolutely amazing. A huge, huge database. And we'll be able to tap into that going forward. I've got all sorts of ideas about how I'd like to get some of my cases, some of my books cased up. And not just single books, but also sets. So I'm thinking about getting the set of the first James Bond in pan edition sets made up, for example. So anyway, I'll just pop that one up there. And one of the other good things, you might be able to see this here, is on the thicker books, of course, they're freestanding. They can literally stand up. Another key point, the actual bind on the case, you see that there's a line there. They're designed to keep the spine completely clear. So if that's on the shelf, you can clearly read the spine, because that's really important. And there was an awful lot of thought that has gone into these cases. So if we take this one, for example, which was just a little double that I had of SF18, what I'd like to do as an experiment is take this one out so you can see how easily they come out, and pop in the Josephine Tay. So you've got the two seals there, like so, and then you've got, this is duplicated at the bottom as well, you've got these two bars. So the book doesn't actually sit on the bottom, it sits on these bars here, you see, like that. And that's exactly the same on the bottom there, you see the two bars. So I should be able to slide this book out, and I believe, I'm hoping, they've got very, very similar dimensions, and they look, I think the Josephine Tay is ever so slightly thinner. But let's have a look here. It's just the most gorgeous cover. Yeah, it's not as thick. So we did see that the SF18 book did come right to the front of the box. So this one has got a little bit of wear, but it still looks blimmin' amazing, doesn't it? That is just the business. So we're just going to fold that over like that, and we'll fold that one over like that, and then I'm going to fold this back in. And you see, you do one side till it clicks, then the other side till it clicks, and there we are. That is now ready to rock and roll. How amazingly gorgeous is that? And it also stands up. So it's just that. Okay, that is just gorgeous. Do you not believe how beautiful is that? I'd like to do all my books like this. Certainly my best condition ones. And this one is one of those ones which is just in tip-top shape. As it is, this is not, strictly the right size, because it's a bit too thick. But you can imagine if you got one which was a millimetre or two shallower, it would just be, literally perfect. So, yeah, how cool is that? Now, I brought a few other ones with me to try that on. So I've got a rather nice J.G. Ballard, because these were the books that I actually wanted. But as I said, I just gave Chris a few samples. And this old Penguin handbook on French wines, as much as I might like French wines, is hardly warranting the treatment, is it? Whereas I've got, this book's worth about £2 to £2.50, whereas that book there is probably £50 in first printing, which it is. So let's give this one a little swap round, shall we? So take it out again, bend it back, lift up the two flaps like so, slide them on out, and once again, I think they're very, very similar dimensions, so I'm hoping that this will just go in without too much trouble. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful, that. And we just shut the lids down, as it were, like so. fold them on him. As I said, the cases really, although you can double use them twice, there we are, click, click. Although you can use them twice, I think they're really better as single use and made to measure. But blimmin' out, that's just a couple of corkers, you have to say. That is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. Don't they look good? They really, really pop. And that's really what I was hoping for. Superb. Really, really superb. Now, it's not just A format books we've got. We have some other sizes as well. I've got a couple of other rare ones I just wanted to show you. This was my pre-production copy of Penguin #1, which was, this is my most valuable paperback. So I thought I'd better get that one in a case, toot sweet. And it looks so much better than if it was in just a plain bag. Now, particularly for our American friends, we must cater for the smaller books. So over in the UK, we've got Corgi. So I gave Chris a couple of Corgi books, like a big thick one and like a sort of average sized one. But I realized that the sizing is a little bit different. I was hoping to have a couple of really nice, I had a couple of really nice sort of books in mind, but I don't think they were going to fit. So what I'm going to do, once again, as a bit of an experiment, I'm going to try and whip Test Pilot out and put in one of my all-time favorite ones, and I think it will just about fit. And I've got this rather lovely Ace Double, which once again I think will just about fit. And I agree, they're rather better than those two. So we'll do Test Pilot first of all. So we'll pull that one out. There we are. 1, 2. Bend it back. As I said, these books were put in here just to sort of, as samples really. These were an experiment. We just weren't sure how they were going to come out. So is that going to fit? Yeah, look at that. So once again, I'd say this is probably a little bit too deep and that we could lose a millimetre or two. But at the same time, oh, look at that. That is just the business. I think that's a vast improvement, don't you? And certainly one of the greatest covers of all. It is stunning. Look at that. Look at that. Still really easy to read the back of it. And there's the join there. So the actual join is done on the page side rather than the spine side. So the spine is always crystal clear. How, that's so nice. I mean, I can't get over how good that one is. Right, let's get rid of this old dog. And although it's actually a great little corgi, this one, but certainly not worthy of this case. Not when we have a rather glorious, pretty early Ace book, an Ace Double number 36, with this beautiful Conan story in. Now this will be interesting because these have covers both ways around, of course, don't they? So we'll see how good the two covers look. Push the one corner in, 1, 2, like so. Oh, that is knockout, isn't it? That is really knockout. As you can see the spine clearly. And because this is a double, 2 books in one, even the back side looks great, in all honesty, doesn't it? I know you've got the lines there, but even so. And of course you can have these stood up. We'll have a look at them stood up in a minute actually, but at the moment I think we're better off having them this way round. But that is great, isn't it? That is really good. You can see that book, it does need to be a millimetre or so thinner for it to sort of push the cover down a little bit more. But very, very nice. And Triffids is just astonishingly good, isn't it? Absolutely awesome. Now, so that's those ones. So we've done the A format, we've done the slightly smaller ones, which would be the Corgis or Dell Mapbacks, of course, the pocket books. That would be that sort of size. And there is one other very, very popular format, which we've not looked at, and that's the B format book. So I had a couple hanging around, and we got Penguin number 3000, a big, huge book, James Joyce's Ulysses. There we are, Penguin 3000, issued as a modern classic. And look at that, same principle. Got the two like bars at the bottom and the top. Beautiful. And look at this one, this Stephen Baxter. So this is obviously a brand new book, and look, it's not second hand, but just look how stunning that looks. I mean, that is, oh. So when you've got really mint stuff, I mean, to say it accentuates it, just superb, aren't they? Absolutely superb. I cannot believe how good these are. They really, really are. So I think I'm going to cut there, and I'm going to put all these stood up just so you can have a look at them sort of face on. Let's get in nice and close on these. Get a really, really good look at just how nice they are. Absolutely stunning, if you ask me. And these are all standing up on their own. They're not leaning against anything. They're just awesome. So you might be tempted to do your whole collection. I mean, who knows? And don't forget, you know, now that the basic design is there, Chris can do anything. So bespoke box sets, sets of books, 2 books side by side, hardbacks, of course. So you can just expand the size. So if you've got rare hardback firsts, rather than covering them, why not put them in these boxes? Because they just look awesome. Absolutely fantastic. So I would definitely recommend going to check out Chris's website. As I said, everything is there. And these are about to be launched very, very soon. And you'll be able to contact Chris. You can just drop him an email. If you need something bespoke, as I said, you can always drop the books to him or send them to him, and he'll do them literally made to measure if you're just not sure. And yeah, well, I think this is the start of something really, really good. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this first look at the amazing Deflector DC cases for vintage paperbacks. I mean, these are just stunning, and I cannot wait to get loads more in my collection, my best stuff, all encased so that they're well protected, and just they make every single book just a fantastic display piece. I really, really love them. So head on over to Deflector DC. The link to their website is in the description down below, and yeah, have a look at what they've got to offer. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed this little look. You were here first, the launch of finally what I believe to be absolutely superb protection for your vintage paperback collection. If you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. If you've not already, do please hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.